Hello friends, welcome to hybridacademy and to another session of Learn Adobe Photoshop for Beginners. In today's session, we will learn how to manipulate images. That is, how we can edit or how we can manipulate the existing image. In today's session of manipulating images, we will learn how to isolate an object from an image and how to make detailed selection within an image. So first, let's see how to isolate object from an image. For me, this is the main feature of why Photoshop is the best editing software in the market. By isolating or cutting out objects, we can do absolutely anything we like with it. But for doing this, we need to know what are the tools available and when to use which tool and under what conditions. Many of the selection tools in Photoshop are on the toolbar, nested with similar tools. Photoshop also has a select drop-down menu. Some of the choices are the selection tools. Other modify selection tools are also found in the toolbar. Select All is a useful tool which has a shortcut of Ctrl A or Command plus A in case of Mac, and as is the deselect command, that is Shift Ctrl D or Shift plus Command plus T in case of Windows and Mac. So tools available in the toolbar are Marquee tools, Lasso tools, Polygonal lasso, Magnetic lasso, Object selection, Quick selection and Magic wand. Tools available in the select menu are Select color range, Select focus area and Select subject. Photoshop has over a dozen of tools to help you select objects and areas of the image. Some tools are more precise, whereas others are the options to select quickly. But of course, the best tool is the one that quickly and accurately makes the selection as per the requirement. Let's see how we can do this in Photoshop. So as discussed, let's take this as the sample picture for Adobe Photoshop, and the first selection tool available with us is the Marquee. Now this Marquee tool has two basic options, that's the rectangle and the elliptical Marquee tool, and then we have the single row selection options, which is the single row Marquee tool and single column Marquee tool. These two tools, that's the rectangle and the circle, are used to create geometrical shapes. For example, if I wish to select this in a rectangle format like this, then this Marquee is really very helpful. Similarly, if I wish to select this in an elliptical shape, somewhat like this, then this can be helpful. Or suppose if I wish to just select the tire of this bike, then this ellipse can be helpful. What we will do is we will create an ellipse selection like this. We will right click on this and we will select transform selection. Now with the help of Control key in case of Windows and Command key in case of Mac, we can transform this as per our requirement. And once this touches the edges of this tire, we can create the selection. We can press the enter and you can see that the tire got selected. So where the geometrical shapes are predefined, it is very easy to select them using the rectangle Marquee or the elliptical Marquee. In case if I wish to select just single pixel row in any of the image, we can use this single row. So you can see just one pixel row got selected. And similarly, if we wish to select a single column, then we can use the single column Marquee tool. So this will select a single pixel column of this particular picture. Now the next tool available with us is the lasso tool, and again this has three different options. One is the simple lasso tool, the second is the polygonal lasso tool, and the third one is the magnetic lasso tool. These tools can also be used to create selections. For example, the first one, which is the lasso tool, this is a free-form tool, and based on our requirement we can draw the selection on our image and we can select the picture. For example, I'm drawing it right now. You can see the line. Now this line is telling me what's the selection I am making, and as soon as I release the mouse button, it will close this, and you can see the marching ants around this bike and the biker, representing that this particular area got selected. And now using the move tool, we can either move this, or we can take it out, or we can take it to a new layer, whatever we want to do. This is helpful if I wish to create a manual selection of anything by drawing around the shape of this particular object. Let's see the next one, which is the polygonal lasso tool. Now this lasso tool works on straight lines. So if again we have a geometrical shape, this is really very helpful. Using this, you can draw straight lines to make a selection of the object or any particular thing within your image. But just remember, this will always be a straight line. It will not have a curved line. And to create a curved line, you will have to create very small nearby lines, which will actually give it a look like a curve. For example, these lines are giving it a look like a curve, but these are actually not curved lines, these are straight lines. So this is another selection tool, and this is again helpful when the shapes are in straight. For example, if I wish to select this silencer, which I know is in straight line, so this can be selected, then like this and this. So wherever there are straight shapes available, this tool is helpful. The next one is the magnetic lasso tool, and as the name suggests, this tool automatically sticks like a magnet based on the contrast difference of two objects in the image. For example, you can see that the biker is entirely in a different contrast and the background sky is in blue color. So when I start using this tool, it will automatically clip around the color. Now I don't have to click, I just have to move my mouse cursor, and wherever I think that it's moving wrong, I can then click, and it automatically sticks to the edges of the color difference where the two colors are making a visible difference on the screen. I just have to drag my mouse cursor around the edges of the object I wish to select. So you can see how this got selected. At times this is very helpful, especially when there is a lot of contrast between the background and the foreground of the image. I can see this automatically got D-shaped because the contrast difference was not there. And over here also, if I zoom it, you can see it came over the tire, not following the actual path required. So this is not that accurate, but yes, it works in a lot of things where there is a lot of contrast difference between the foreground and the background. Now the next we have is the actual selection tools which we have in Photoshop. The first one is the object selection tool. This is a very good example of artificial intelligence where it recognizes the object. You just have to simply create a selection around the object, and this tool would automatically select the object which is clearly visible. Now you can see the selection around this bike. Let me zoom this for you. And you can see how easily the selection got made. Still, at times this is not that accurate. You can see over here, this is not that accurate. But yes, to some extent this is very good. And another major drawback of this is that suppose if I create a copy of the selection, I've pressed Ctrl plus J on the keyboard, or CMD plus J in case of Mac, and this selection got moved to a new layer. Now I'm creating a new layer in between these two and filling it up with white color to see what actually got moved to the new layer. And now if you just look at the close-up of this picture, you can see that the edges are not that sharp. The edges are deterred. See, and even the clarity is not up to that level. But yes, this is really a very quick solution to the selection, and it works in most of the cases where you do not require the picture to be that much clear on the edges. Let's move back to the original layer. The next selection option is the quick selection tool. This is also a selection tool which works on the contrast in the image. So once you select this, you get a plus sign with a circle, and you can always select the single color which is of similar shade, and you can create a selection around your object using this. And once it is done, now you can select the marquee tool and right click, and you can select inverse. So this will actually select the main object, but again this has to be used very carefully because this also misses the edges here, over here. So wherever there is a less contrast between the background and the foreground, this tool might miss the edges. Now the last one is the magic wand tool, and as the name suggests, it works like a magic. You just have to click once on the area which you think is of a similar color, and you can see it automatically selects the complete color of that image. Now for example, if I just want to select the mudguard of this, I can click over here and you see it will select the mudguard which is of similar color. So these are the basic selection tools available in the toolbar. Apart from this, we have a selection menu in the menu bar, which gives you again 3 different options. One is the color range. This also works on the color. So wherever there is a similar color, you can easily select that color using this selection tool, and you can see the selection is made. And in case if you wish to select the object, you can always invert this selection. Right click, select inverse, and the actual object got selected, and you can create a copy of the same using Ctrl J or Command J, and you can see how good this works. So all the blue sky got removed from this picture at once. Let's see this on a black background. Now if I zoom it, you can still see that there are mild patches of the blue color on this black screen. Let me use an eraser to check this out. So this is an eraser. I hope you are able to make out the small patches which got created due to the color selection, because the color which got selected was not exactly what patch is over here. So you can see there are small patches of the selected color. So this is the drawback of this color selection. Let's move on to the next option in the select menu, which is focus area. So this will select all those things which are on the same focal platform. So if this bike is on one platform, it will select this, and if something else is, see, whatever is in focus, it gets selected, and the rest part is automatically removed. So depending on the situation or depending on the color, or you can accordingly decide which would be the best selection tool for you. And the last one is the select subject. This almost works like the object selection tool, where the objects get selected. So you can either call it an object or you can call it a subject. So this select subject or select object, these both work in the same way. Based on artificial intelligence, wherever there is a contrast difference, it will automatically select that. So these were all the basic selection techniques in Photoshop. Moving further with our session, let's see how we can make detailed selections. Photoshop's selection tools make it possible to isolate a single object or remove a photo's background. But if by chance we mess up using the lasso tool, the only option is to go back and start outline all over again. That's why when it comes to making specific detailed selections, many Photoshop professionals don't use any of the selection tools at all. Instead, they look a few icons further down in the toolbox and are rewarded with the pen tool. Unlike the lasso tool, the pen tool pays no attention to the pixels underneath it, giving us a full control over exactly what is selected, from simple geometric shapes to delicate curves. By creating permanent paths instead of temporary selections, the pen tool makes it possible to go back and edit the selection no matter how many steps we have taken in between. While the pen tool is often more time intensive than other options, when it comes to advanced, accurate selections, the pen tool proves to be the best option available. The pen tool is a simple selection tool with a wide range of applications for users at every skill level. Photoshop provides multiple pen tools to suit your use cases and creative style. The standard pen tool lets you to draw straight segments and curves with great precision. The freeform pen tool lets you draw paths as if you are drawing with a pencil on a piece of paper. A curvature pen tool lets you intuitively draw curves and straight segments. The magnetic pen lets you draw paths that snap to the edges of defined areas in your image. With the help of pen tool, we can draw straight line segments. We can draw curves with the pen tool. We can draw straight lines followed by curves. We can draw curved segments connected by a corner. Finish the drawing path. Freeform pen tool. Draw using the magnetic pen options and creating curved designs. So let's see the detailed selection in Adobe Photoshop. Now if you look at this example picture, there is not much of a contrast in the lower section of the picture because the color of the bike and the background, which is again of brown color, are quite similar. So for this kind of pictures, making the selection using any of the selection tools is not very much feasible. Although in the top part of this picture, the contrast is pretty much clear, like this handle and this rear view mirror and this top of the headlight, but still as the lower section is not clearly distinguished between the background and the bike, it is very difficult to cut out the bike or to take out the bike using the selection tools. So in such cases, selection through the pen would be very helpful. So let's see how we can do the selections through pen. To do this, we'll use the pen tool. That's the default pen tool, and the shortcut for this is letter P. Now just remember one thing. We will start the selection from any one of the points. For example, let's start it from the bottom of the bike or from the left edge of the bike, because this is anyways the corner. So we can just select it from outside, but the inside we will have to select it from one of the corners. Also, we can zoom the image so that we can get clear view what we have to select. And just remember a few shortcuts. The first is to zoom, we can use Control along with the plus sign on the keyboard, and to zoom out we can use Control along with the minus sign on the keyboard. Similarly, if you wish to drag the image or if you wish to move the image on the screen, you can press and hold the space bar and you can see the icon changes to a hand, and now we can drag this image anywhere. This can also be done during the selection process while we will be doing the selection. That is the reason I have zoomed this image, so that we can start selecting from the bottom left corner, and once we reach the top we will drag it like this so that we will be able to select the rest of the image. So let's start. Now we will start from the bottom corner and taking the first spot outside the image. Then we can click on the second point and drag it so that the curve is formed like this. Once this is done, we need to press the Alt key in case of Windows and Options key in case of Mac, and click on this middle point, which was the second point while creating the curve. Now after doing this, you will see that it has deleted the second handle of this point. We have done this because we will want to continue this curve further, selecting the rest of the bike. So now we'll click another point and again we'll draw a curve. Now you can see that the curve goes along with the bike edge. Now, as told you earlier, this is a bit time-taking process, but once you are friendly with this, it becomes very easy. So we'll keep on creating the points. Pressing the Alt key will remove the second handle, and then we can continue. Now this is a huge curve. We can do it at once, like this. This is done. We'll again press the Alt key and click on the middle point. Now we'll drag the bike below, and we can move up like this. At any point, if you think that you have clicked it wrong, don't worry, we can do it later using the pen tool, or you can also press Ctrl plus Z or Ctrl plus Z in case of Windows, and Command plus Z or Command plus Z in case of Mac to undo what we have done. So I'm again clicking like this, creating a curve, pressing the Alt key, removing the second handle, moving further. Now wherever you see that there is no curve but a straight line, you don't have to drag it. Just simply click once and you see the straight line is created, and without pressing any Alt key and any other point, you can simply continue this as we were doing earlier with the curves. Again, it's a straight line, so I'll just click once. Now you can see that we have completed this from end to end. So now what we can do is that we can simply click once here, and then we can again click on the starting point like this, and you can see that the complete path is created. Now if we go to the path section, you can see the complete shaved path, and if you want, you can even save this path, you can delete this path, you can convert this to a selection using make selection from here, or on the image you can simply press Ctrl with enter or command with enter in case of Mac, and you can see a selection is created. Now we can take this selection to a new layer by pressing Ctrl plus J on the selected layer, and you can see a new layer is created with the selection which we have done. So I'm clicking on the bottom layer, inserting a new layer and filling black color in this so that we can see the bike which has been cropped out. Now let me zoom it, and you can see how sharp the edges are. See, this sharp selection was not possible with the selection tools, and you have already seen how dithered the edges were when we selected it using the selection tools. See how sharp the selection was. Now at level 2 we can delete the other areas. We can zoom it, and using the pen tool we can make the selections of the areas which we want to delete. Once this is done, I'll press Ctrl plus enter. I'll go to the layer which holds the bike, and I'll press the delete button, so you can see that the area got deleted. As an alternate, you can also create a mask on this, But for that, first we need to invert the selection. I'll right click using the marquee tool and I'll select inverse, and then I'll insert a mask, and you can see this area got deleted. But it's actually not deleted, it's just the mask which has hidden that area and the picture is still intact. So if we disable this layer mask, you can see the area comes back, and if we enable this layer mask, that area again goes. Similarly, you can do the same for this tire area. I'll again select the pen tool. So now you can see that the complete bike has been cut out. Now based on your choice, you can always change this black background to any color you want. Let's say blue. So you can see how sharp it is and how crisp it is. And if you want, you can make any other picture also as a background of this. So you can see I've inserted a picture, and let me just transform this picture a bit bigger so that it covers the complete area behind the bike. I'm pressing Ctrl+T in case of Windows and Command+T in case of Mac. Let me just de-zoom this. And you can see how easily we have changed the background of this picture. This is the best use of the selection tool. So with this, we have completed our session, that is lesson 6 part 1 of manipulating images, and we have learned how to isolate object from an image and making detailed selections. Trust me, this is the best thing we can do in Photoshop, and once you have learned this and once you have the expertise in this, this is something with which you can also earn a lot by editing and cropping pictures. In the next lesson, that is part 2 of lesson 6, we will learn further on manipulating images, and we will learn to repair the imperfections, remove blemishes from a photo, and patching complete area of an image. Thank you for joining the complete session. Hope you liked the content. Please share and subscribe our channel so that your friends also get benefited with the information, acquire free knowledge and learn new things. We are eagerly looking forward to your support. Thanks, take care and stay safe. Hope to see you in the next session.